Aussie.
Alrighty, seeing out the weekend with a live stream. Hello, Luke and Megaleech. Yes, I can imagine. So long since you've seen me, it's hard to remember what I look like. In jokes. So yes, another weekend flies by. At least I did stuff. Went out, physically interacted with people. Spent too much money on booze? That's okay. I mean, why else do I have a job? Micro SB, hello. And Invisible Chicken, hello. Yeah, Micro, I don't know. Megalichi is very good at getting in the first comment right on start time. But yeah. What are we doing? Seeing out a weekend. Cheers. My red cordial. Very fire engine red, isn't it? It's actually a milk clarified cocktail that had a lot of red things in it. Blood orange, in my experience, the color doesn't really go away when you clarify it. It's got blood orange juice and cherry liqueur, and basically everything in it was red, and so it's still very red even though it's clarified. That's good. It's got a very fruity wine-like taste. You can taste there's alcohol in it, and of course it's got a lot of fruity things: a cherry liqueur, blood orange juice, and vermouth. So it's like very fruity wine. Ooh, Invisible Chicken having a variation of the mule. Nice. Thanks for the support, Marcus B. It's not possible to spend too much money on booze. Well, I went out and I went to a couple of outlets. Sorry, I'm really phlegmy. And they had exactly what I wanted at one, the Bitters Lab. And just the excitement of them having exactly what I wanted gave me a bit of a rush of blood. And I bought something else as a bunch, which I still haven't tasted. Should probably taste on the stream tonight. So Invisible Chicken, you made mule with a rum substitute, daiquiri mix, ginger ale. That sounds good. That's actually really pleasantly fruity. Hey, Justin. Oh, Micro SB. Invisible Chicken doesn't drink alcohol, but there are lots of products on the market now that give you the flavors without the alcohol. So that's what Invisible Chicken's talking about. Micro SB, I would agree that bad white rum is bad. I've got a couple of quite good white rums over there, actually. But a lot of flavor and a lot of character. Marcus B, the point of making alcoholic drinks for the flavor, essentially. I'm sure you consume at least some things that don't have alcohol in them. So I'm going with, as Invisible Chicken says, taste nice. Come up with concoctions that taste nice and that are a bit more inventive than just a soft drink or a fruit juice. Justin, you heard flu variant might have been made extinct through COVID-19 response. Possibly. We had almost no flu cases last year, which was wild. Who knows what's going to happen in the next year, 18 months, 2 years? Who knows? No one knows. That's the answer. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Dear. Micro, yes. Rum and whiskey don't taste great. It's the alcohol that helps. Well, I actually, that's why I do cocktails, because I put a bit of effort into making drinks that taste good. Oh yes, Invisible Chicken and rum sour. Any sort of sour. And on the alcohol front, a sour is your base spirit. In Invisible Chicken's case, would be one of those non-alcohol things that approximate the taste of spirit. So it's your base flavor, a citrus, and sugar, or a sugar syrup, a sweetener. And if you want to be really fancy, you put a foaming agent like an egg white or Wonder Foam, and you shake it. And so yeah, the mixture of the sweet and sour is good. Like one of the first cocktails that I really got into was a whiskey sour. Friggin' love a whiskey sour, actually. Micro, we could be hit by a super bug anytime. It is absolutely true. And one of the most dangerous things that we are on the cusp of facing is antibiotic resistant bacteria, and particularly in hospitals, golden staph and stuff is very bad, very bad. Would have a terrible effect on society if that got out of control. Thank you for going with the innuendo, Micro. I get your Furman agent right here. Abigail, the most idiotic smart person you've ever met. Oh, fair enough. You don't want to be too hard on yourself. Chris, hello. You got to be careful when you're smart, because it's like smart people are as susceptible as almost anyone to scams and cults, and in a different way, because there is this danger that you do have to be aware of, that you're not falling into the trap of, I'm too smart to be fooled, so therefore if I'm going along with this thing, it's not a scam, it's not a cult, because I'm too smart to be taken in by a scam or a cult. And so you get deeper and deeper into it. Michael, saying there are emergency antibiotics in case. There is a very real danger, and the people in the field, it keeps them awake at night. There is a very real danger of infectious agents, and I think bacteria is the main one, being completely resistant to all available antibiotics. Some people think it's a case of when rather than if, but there's an old treatment that fell out of favor as antibiotics rose that could be the solution. It's called phage. I think it's used in science fiction a lot. PHAGE. I think that's what it's called. That could save us. But anyway. Well, Marco, apparently after the plague swept Europe and killed half of Europe, for the people who survived, if you ignore the crippling trauma they went through, it was a golden age. There was less pollution, there was more work, there was more money, because it was basically the start of a middle class, because everything changed. Thank you, Abigail. A phage is a virus that specifically targets bacteria, and therapeutic use of phages in medical treatment was apparently very big in like Soviet Russia. Never really caught on in the West. But if we do end up with like a horrific problem with antibiotic resistant bacteria, phage treatments may save us. Oh God, Justin, you got a golden staph infection after you went in for an ingrown toenail. Not good. Heidi Hanetti. Oh no, Mike USB is traffic getting bad. Yeah, we are on the fast track to everything being just as bad as it was before lockdowns with the crowds and stuff. So in fine Melbourne town where I live, by next Friday night, there's going to be all these freedoms for vaccinated people. There's still density limits in a lot of venues, but I think it's more manageable. And then, so because we're expected to hit 80% of the adult population, or in fact the over 12s, double vaccinated by Friday. So we got all these new freedoms. And then when we hit 90%, which is expected to be before the end of November, it's everything's close to normal. Kind of, sort of. If nothing goes wrong, who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Just only had 9 cases in Canberra today. I stopped looking at case numbers. I just hope that, like, you know what? They're in Melbourne, they're bad numbers at the moment. I'm just hoping that everyone is doing the management thing and it's going to turn around. I think looking at the numbers is too depressing. Micro, how was June Club? June Club was good. We had a good chat. Abigail saying foreign and alien viruses are almost certainly going to be a non-issue for humans since they require co-evolution to survive. Bacteria, on the other hand, don't give a fuck and just kill it. Yes. And that's what the antibiotic-resistant bacteria is a major worry. Could be catastrophic. Just in case numbers may go up. The big thing, and now we're getting to these really high levels of vaccination. The real numbers that need to be paid attention to is the number of people in hospital, particularly the number of people in intensive care, and then particularly the number on ventilators. I think you're not, by definition, on a ventilator if you're in intensive care. You can be in intensive care and not require a ventilator, but that's what will cause problems. You know, no one wants to get sick, but getting hospitalized and getting in intensive care, that's where the problems are. Because if the health system gets overloaded, the problems regarding that just cascade out into all these other very bad things. And hopefully that doesn't happen to us, but who fucking knows? Justin, you reckon anyone in your office will freak out if it comes in? I'm putting off going into the office as much as possible. Again, it's supposed to be office normal by about December. I'm not going in until there starts to be some sort of pressure to go in, quite honestly. Fuck that noise. It just sounds atrocious. Office, ooh, commuting, ooh, I don't want to do it. Oh, yeah, no, Marco, it's lots of places around the world, hospitals are having to do triage and essentially say people showing up in emergency and whatnot, having to send them away, and you say you have to be dying, and some people are dying because the ambulances are banked up and they can't get people in for treatment, and people are dying. And just hoping it doesn't get to the absolute worst. Just again, there's some crap on my laptop screen. Now it's under my fingernail because I scraped it off. Very poor hygiene on my part with this particular laptop. There's weird stains all over it. All over it. Like that, Micro. Hospitals are going to be like school nurse. Who cares? Your arm's broken. You're fine. Go home. Yeah. And again, that is such an unfair burden to place on medical staff, to force them to life or death triage because the system's overloaded. That's just fucked. Justin, you reckon working for government, there's pressure on public servants? There was earlier this year, because I'm working for the state government, pressure on the state public servants to go back But then we had the, multiple waves and lockdowns, and that all went away. I don't think the pressure will come back this year, but by January, yeah. Hello, nobody. Yes, good call, micro USB. Put a black light on people's laptops, it'd be horrified. Mine would be horrifying. Not that I use this laptop for masturbation because it's out in the open and no, but just gross stuff. No jizz, okay? That's the angry guarantee. No jizz on this laptop because I believe it or not, I do not masturbate in the kitchen. So be cool, be cool, be cool. Oh, that's good. Mega Leech, Tasmania wasn't affected by the quarantine jumper. Still, the guy was a complete asshole. If there's a way to fucking imprison him, I'd be up for it. Like, I'm against, thuggish police in the carceral state, but sometimes it's just like, that person's so much of a fucking asshole. Something needs to happen to them. Oh, no. Micro, next time you go to a hotel, bring a black light and enjoy the show. No, that's terrifying stuff. That's terrifying stuff. I actually was the real one, and this is a thing. It's probably less of a thing in hotels. It's a big thing in Airbnbs. You need to fucking sweep them for hidden cameras, basically. There are nightmare stories about hidden cameras in Airbnbs. Megaleech, do you need to check the webcam you got from me with a black light? I think that one's safe. Abigail, there may or may not have been many things. But what was the line from... I don't know that they used it in the American version, but in the original British House of Cards, the line... the guy who was scheming all the time would say, when people took the bait he was putting down for them, they said, "Oh, are you saying they did this?" And he goes, "You might say that, but I couldn't possibly comment." Micro, why are you never around when alleged nakedness happens? Because you're on the wrong continent. It certainly doesn't happen on the stream, because I'd get my YouTube channel shit canned if that happened. Oh gosh, nobody lifted and individually cleaned each key on mechanical keyboard. Keyboards, I'm looking at this laptop and it's filthy, just with grot. Again, nothing obscene, just with grot. Oh wow, Invisible Chicken. Mum used to clean holiday apartments and saw things. I bet when people are on holidays, woof, what they get up to. Oh wow. That one still tastes really strongly of whiskey. This one, what was going? There's this. It's a clarified old-fashioned, essentially, whiskey and brandy in it. And clarifying tends to soften flavors. That one really still tastes of whiskey. I don't say that as a bad thing, but yeah. You like your continent? Well, it's good to like your own continent, honestly. So just a new manager, you don't have to go in if you're not comfortable. Supervisor says, watch things change. When a certain politician says, oh, yeah, no. And yeah, definitely in Canberra, like Morrison will say it. And that pressure was placed on the state government here in Melbourne to make public servants go back. And that was in about April. And then that all sort of went sideways. I think we'll be under pressure by January. But again, apparently the agreement is like 2 days a week or something. I don't know that I even want to do that, but we'll see. I mean, I'll probably coordinate because Mrs. Angry will be told she's supposed to go in at least 1 or 2 days a week. So I'll probably just coordinate with her. It's like, oh, if you have to go into the office, I'll go into the office as well. Yeah, I like that, like her. You have been around in an after party and all you saw was people acting old and tired. That would certainly be me. That would absolutely be me on either a stream or an after party, being old and tired. I would absolutely have to say guilty as charged on that front. No getting away from it. Yeah, it's hard to be sure, Micro. Again, I'm gonna look. What's the US? And I know there's massive variation in state to state. US vaccination rates. See your state's progress by state. Okay, Jesus Christ. Wyoming's only 43% fully vaccinated. That's shit. Okay, so this is the thing. The US had a significant head start on Australia because Morrison fucked up the vaccine rollout. But now we've got it. Everyone's just going hell for leather. Like we hit 70% last week. We're hitting 80% this week and then 90% by the end of November. And look around, Washington State, 63%, Oregon, 62%, California, 60%. Of course you're getting massive fucking outbreaks. The most vaccinated, although actually maybe that's the entire population. Maine's got 70%. God, West Virginia's only 40%. Alabama's only 44%. Actually, that might be the entire population. And the numbers they're putting around in Australia aren't the entire population. Oh, no, that's 12 and up. Okay, that's 12 and up because here it's broken down and it starts with 12 to 17. That's 50%. 18 to 24, 55%. 25 to 39, 59%. 40 to 49, 67%. 50 to 64, 75%. 65 to 74, 87%. And for some reason, 75 plus drops to 81%. Yeah. So, yeah, Australia's vaccination rates have shot past the US. We still don't know if that's enough. Yeah, Micro, that article, 52% of Aussie 16 plus are vaxxed, is well out of date now. I think we are now at... Oh, actually, no, I'm just thinking of my state. Yes, Justin, Queensland's a bit behind. I just realized I was... I could be extremely wrong. I was just thinking of... Yeah, okay, we're coming up on 60%. And I don't know, again, if that's over 12s or if that's everyone. So hard you don't know what the base of it is. So we're saying, okay, we're now up to 86.6% of people aged 16 and over have had their first dose. 73% of people 16 and over have had there you go. There's a number. There's a number. So yeah, okay. So Marco, your article was, yeah, we're going pretty fast. It's now 73% of people 16 and over. I think the percentage actually goes up if you go 12 and up because there was this massive take up of school kids when it was made available. But yeah, so we're up to 73% of people 16 and over. Going very fast. No, buddy. Were you busy? Also had the excuse of not many cases in your neck of the woods as well? Okay, so Marco, Washington Post says 66% of the US has at least one dose. Yeah, well, see, US had a huge head start on Australia, but then the vaccine rate dropped off. Whereas this is not just the US, this is lots of Europe and other places as well, there was a quick rise to 60% of people getting vaccinated, and then the vaccination rate dropped right off. Whereas Australia's just gone, yeehaw, motherfucker, and we're racing towards 90% of 12 and ups being vaccinated. So go us. Again, we could have had this 6 months ago if Morrison wasn't such a fuckwit. But Morrison's a fuckwit. And we also could have been open this whole time if Gladys and the New South Wales LNP weren't fuckwits, but they're all fuckwits. Let an outbreak get completely out of control, and it's completely their fault because they were acting on ideology as opposed to reality. And it pisses me off how much they fuck things up. Oh, okay. Sorry, Marco. 66.2 is fully vaxxed. I misunderstood what you're saying. Yeah, well, we're up to whatever that number was I said. Oh, wait, I've still got the thing open. 73% of people 16 and over have had their second dose. And I think by the end of, I think by a week from now, that figure will be 80%. And 90% will have had at least one dose. And the expectation is by the end of November, at least 90% of people 12 and over have had 2 vaccines. Nobody get your number 2 in 3 weeks. Nice. Justin, the lockdowns absolutely drove the vaccination rates up. There's no question at all. Because people rightly have fucking had it with the lockdowns, and the government starts saying, well, if we hit these targets, you get to go out. And if you're not vaccinated, you don't get to go out. And everyone goes, fuck that noise. I'm getting vaccinated. Oh, yeah. No, Micro, it's the idiotic anti-vaxxers are the problem. And you have a bigger problem with them than we do. In some parts of, sorry, I'm just taking my glasses off. I'm hurting my nose. Some parts of Europe have a much bigger problem with anti-vaxxers than we do. We got about 5% of the population fuckwits like that. And yeah, it's just like, Jesus. It's just, they're more and more marginalized. This weekend is like the anti-vaxxers now, because they can't protest lockdown anymore because we're not having lockdowns anymore. So they're protesting outside food venues saying, oh, it's dining apartheid. It's like, everyone fucking hates you, you fucking pieces of shit. Everyone fucking hates you. They fucking suck. Well, you blame Southerners as a whole, but you've met some who think anti-vaxxers are absolute morons. Yeah, I mean, but you look at some of the states that have a very low vaccination rate, like they're only about 40 something percent in the US, and they're like stereotype states, like in West Virginia and Arkansas. It's like they're just seriously living up to stereotypes. It's really weird. And yes, Justin, I'm looking forward to anti-vaxxers having a very hard time with all restrictions. And it appears apparent that a decent chunk of people who bought into all this stupid QAnon shit and, oh, the vaccines are bad, are going to get vaccines because it's like, oh, wait, I can't actually go anywhere if I don't get a vaccine. I want to go places. And a bunch more people are going to lose their fucking job if they don't do it. I'm personally hugely in favor of anti-vaxxers getting fired because fuck them. Nobody, if you're fully vaxxed, still going to wear a mask. Indoor places, I'll be very much into masks in crowded places. So, Mike, I imagine the plague times, people like, don't get the vaccine, it'll kill you. Yeah, I mean, the thing that always does my head in about the plague is when you read the stuff written at the time, and, people thought God had abandoned them, which was a reasonable thinking. But you think of a time where the overwhelming majority of the population had a total and unswerving belief in God, and God was actively controlling anything. So if this plague was killing half the people, that's God was letting that happen. If you had absolute faith that God was real and controlling things, and then a catastrophe like that happens, that's, again, psychologically, that would have to be so hard to deal with. Ah, yes, nobody. Even if you didn't want to get vaccinated, you have to be at the church. And public gatherings for churches and stuff, it will be for vaccinated only. Yeah. Micro, I fucking hate masks too. I'll only do it in really crowded environments. But there are some environments where I will. Oh my God. Again, yeah, Micro, the people who get into that weird conspiracy saying it's a pandemic for population control. And yeah, you're right. But you're saying common sense. The government already controls it. Try not paying income tax and see what happens. But the conspiracy theories aren't swayed by reality, basically. Nobody. Most of your parishioners are older people. Well, for their own protection, you'd want to have a vaccinated only rule, I would think. Yes. So, Justin, you're saying, in case for years, people who work certain jobs have got flu vaccines. Oh, yeah. But there are all sorts of safety requirements for a whole range of jobs. Like you have to do a particular thing or you can't work here. Conditions of employment, they exist. But yeah, I really fucking look forward to anti-vaxxers getting fired because I fucking hate them. It's just, it's just the layers of stupidity. I can't get it. So, Micro, 5:30 a.m. Eastern Standard. Considering opening an alcoholic beverage. I can't, in good conscience, encourage you to drink at 5:30 a.m. I also can't stop you. But that's water. If you want some encouragement, I did have some alcoholic beverages. Now I'm drinking some water. So, Grace, you're doing a Grand Theft Auto PS2 game getting a big remaster. Oh my God, are they doing San Andreas? If they remaster Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, I am there. I am absolutely there. If there's a remaster of San Andreas, I'm all over that shit. I friggin' love that game. Justin, you got vaccinated back in June. I think they're about to announce third doses, recommending that you get third dose after 6 months. So you might be due for a third dose soon. Oh, okay, Micro knows it too. It's GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas. I never played Vice City, so if they remaster it, I'll probably get it. But I friggin' loved San Andreas. I'm getting it. I am so getting it. Abigail, you couldn't get GTA 5 working on your PC thanks to stupid fucking loaders that have to be installed. I played GTA 5 on the PS4. But yeah, if they're remastering these for PC, I'll probably go with PC. I could actually do like a Twitch stream. Would people like to see me playing a Grand Theft Auto game on a stream and watch me struggling? Because I could do that. Yeah, Michael. Well, yeah, GTA 5 is really old now, and there's not even really a rumor of it. Chris, you're kind of done with it. Yeah, I only did one playthrough of GTA 5. I did a playthrough, and I kept messing around for a while after I'd done the final thing because you can still drive around and do shit. And yeah, then I let it go. I played some other games because I don't game that much. But But yeah, I would be all over San Andreas being remastered. Yeah, I don't. So I think there'll never be a GTA 6. I don't need there to be a GTA 6. I just like open world games. Just another open world game. I'll play it. I love the open world games. And whatever comes out. Chris, so there's a trailer on Rockstar's YouTube. Don't know how I missed that. Seems like something I would have noticed, but I didn't. You know what? I'm just freaking drinking that. There's not that much of it. This used to be blue curacao, and then I clarified it, so now it's light green. Just an entire world version of GTA would be cool, or any sandbox game would be cool. Tommy, you feel like an empty shell. Oh, dude, sometimes we just feel like that, man. So I can't I can't really help, but maybe if you hang out and chill, you know, it could be a thing. Yeah, Micro, you are right that actually programming something of, you know, the entire world, it'd have to be very limited, but yeah, I don't know. You just see what happens in the gaming world. Chris, you reckon the remasters will keep you occupied for years? Well, I'm going to be all over San Andreas, and like I said, I never played Vice City, but if they're doing a remaster of it, I will almost definitely get Vice City as well. So. Yeah, we want a world sandbox games like Matrix level stuff. I like that, Abigail. Server requirements massive for open worlds, but nothing technically stopping us except capitalism, because people can't make enough money from it. That does drive a lot of things. You know what? I think I want to put another. Actually, I'll put some of this in my drink. I just like really icy drinks. And no, they ate all the desserts. Okay, cool. Oof. Chris, you're never going to get PS5 because there's no point. There's certainly many thousands of hours of games without getting a PS5, and you can't even apparently get them anyway at the moment. Tommy, you like how movie makers hate video games because they compete with the same crowd and Hollywood influence a lot of games. Yeah, I mean, you do get people who make films deriding video games, and they're usually quite misguided when they do it. But I think you're right that they regard it as competition as well. Oh no, Micro. I could run off a list of people. Well, the famous film reviewer Roger Ebert would shit on video games. I think Martin Scorsese has shat on video games. A lot of fairly big film people have shit on video games, but it's not that important. I saw the trailer for the Uncharted movie. Tom Holland playing Nathan Drake. And nobody, I think you're right that a lot of games are like interactive films with cutscenes. And that's certainly how a lot of game makers treat them. And I mean, I think that's a thing they did pretty well in Star Trek by the time we got to the next generation with the holodeck. And like the whole thing's interactive. You're an active part. You're not watching something passively. You're an active part of it. But yeah, a lot of people developing games will refer to them as being interactive storytelling, not necessarily interactive films, but interactive storytelling. Microfilm reviewers don't matter. It's opinions. Who cares about the old actors? Scorsese is an old director. They're old. Time in the world's over. It's out. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you get me started on critics of anything, and I'm going to go pretty hard on critics. Shortest reason is critics can't exist without people creating things, but people creating things can exist very happily without critics. Like nobody, you hate the critics. Just let me play the game, you bastards. Yeah, that is a good attitude, really. Justin, does AZ have a criminal record? Well, he's been arrested multiple times. I don't know if he has any criminal convictions. He's certainly been arrested. But I don't know that he has any convictions. So I look up this other thing I bought that I still haven't tried. Maideneye Classic Sweet. Kina Kina, that's the other one I want. Should get Nocturne. Right, so they don't sell through their website. I think, is that a... Oh, yeah, no, that's words. Versatile cocktail ingredient where bitter wine or liqueur is called for. Enjoy chilled in a wine glass. I'm going to have to try this because I haven't tried it since I bought it. And I like to try things when I buy them. All right, so it's just for sale. Melbourne cocktails. What's this? Vermont. Melbourne. Oh, yeah, maybe I just have it in a martini, actually. Maybe I'll make a martini with it. We'll see. Anyway, Tommy, you watched last night's stream. Were you ever drunk? Well, as long as you're having fun, man. Rays, hello, man. How's it going? And hello, Greg. Hello. Marco, Oregon has a law that says if you get arrested, that's public information. So if I can look up who got arrested for what. Well, the reason we always have these jokes about Florida man is there's a law in Florida that isn't in every other state where every arrest gets publicized. So that's why you get all these wacky stories out of Florida. It's not necessarily that more weird things are happening in Florida, although I think more weird things are happening in Florida. But it's that I have this thing where all arrests are publicized. So you get these weird stories. Yes. Justin, you think you'd trust Aussie cops over US cops? That is a very low bar. That's like saying I'd rather slam my finger in a car door than slam my dick in a car door. Really don't want either. Yeah, no, Micro. It is actually comparatively easy to go through life without having a trouble with a cop, but whether or not things go with a cop are not really in our control. You can influence, you can definitely influence it. As I've told the story before, I actually got away with giving a cop a finger while doing an illegal right turn. And that was all about my attitude. And mostly my attitude was honest. But yeah, there are incidents that are very, very bad. So tell me, they keep catching Florida man. He changes his identity and gender. Sometimes it's Florida woman. And yeah, Abigail, it is much easier for white people to have a good relationship with cops. But again, there's a lot of white people who don't have good relationships with cops. But yes, the whole thing about whether an interaction with a cop goes well is 100% in the power of the cop. And so when it's a dodgy cop, it's pretty bad. Micro, flipping off a cop is protected under free speech. I can imagine a lot of circumstances where that would end really badly and the cop wouldn't face any consequences. Justin, you may be wrong when you say racial bias is less of an issue with Aussie cops than it is with US cops. I could point you to a long string of really terrible incidents, including deaths in custody that were murders, that the cops faced no penalty for. And the violence was definitely racially motivated. Palm Island's the big one, actually. I mean, there's been dozens and dozens of deaths in custody where racist attitude by cops seemed to be a major, if not sole, driving factor in what happened. But one of the worst ones in recent memory was Palm Island, where the cops just beat a guy to death, and they got off absolutely scot-free. And then there were these massive riots, which drew attention to how bad things were on Palm Island, and there's finally a proper investigation. But anyway, hello, Celtic, by the way. So what are we? 8:48 on a Sunday night. Cruising along. Christmas Island, I think, is an Australian territory, Micro. There are a whole bunch of islands off the coast of Australia that are controlled by the Australian government, and I believe Christmas Island is controlled by Australia. I sometimes get these things wrong, but there are, in the Pacific around here, lots and lots and lots of islands, not far from Australia. Okay, all right. Now I need to refresh my memory. Christmas Island. Oh yeah, okay. That's one of our detention centers. Yes, that's one of our prison gulags, where we imprison asylum seekers with no representation, which is psychotic thing. Yeah, Micro speak. Christmas Island was set up as a gulag for asylum seekers. It is a terrible place where people are tortured for having the audacity to seek asylum in many, many cases because of, if not Australia's foreign policy, Australia's support of the foreign policy of other countries. So it's basically they're refugees and it's our fault. And this all goes back to John Howard, the idea of treating asylum seekers like garbage became mainstream thanks to John Howard, and it's just not good. Not good. So yeah, we have a couple of these gulags. One's on Christmas Island. The one's on Nauru. But yeah, it is very much to Australia's shame that we have these places where we torture refugees. It is fucked. So, all right. Drinking water because I'm a good boy. Because I drank some alcohol. So now I'm being good and drinking some water. And I'll let you in on a secret. After I do this, I intend to drink some more alcohol. Just a little bit. And because I need to try this thing. Look, all these things, it's got this wax seal. I don't even know how to open it. I'll get a knife now. Fucking this cut is fucked. Like, there's only Band-Aid on it. So you might think it's not that bad. It's actually pretty fucked, the cut on that finger. I probably should have got it stitched, but, you know, it's mostly stopped bleeding. Hey, have I got a knife here? Yeah, none of those are... I'm just going to get a knife to cut this wax. But like I said, probably cut myself too, because I'm an idiot. A paring knife. A little knife to stab a really little person. This be a very little person I stabbed with this. Oh, yeah, no, Micro. Yeah, Guantanamo Bay is not good, particularly because it appears a bunch of people who've been held in Guantanamo Bay for years aren't actually guilty of anything. I think it was, like I said, the people we're torturing are refugees, asylum seekers, because it is of political benefit to parties to do that. All right, I need to get this wax off. They say it's wax, and it technically is. It's not plastic. But it's not, Jesus. It's not just like, there you go. I've got it, though. I got it now. I've got it. Everyone relax. Stop panicking. Why are you all panicking? Hello, Ian. Hello, Kirsten. Look what I got. I got some Maiden Eye Nocturne. I'm very excited. I haven't tried it yet. I'm just taking the wax off it, basically. Oh, my God. It's got a cork. I thought I was being extra taking this wax off here, but I have to. I need a corkscrew. Man. Okay. Jesus, I hope I got a stopper that works in this. I have a lot of stoppers there. I'm hoping one of them is the right size. I didn't actually realize it was like this. Okay. All right. Tell me, you were just talking about Guantanamo Bay. Funny, they said it's closed. No, it's there are still people imprisoned in Guantanamo Bay. Oh, yeah, no, those terrible pictures of the guards in Gitmo, and, of course, the ones from Iraq as well, of the guards humiliating and debasing prisoners. And they were given clear, nudge, wink clearance by senior officers to do that. The fact that they prosecuted some of the enlisted soldiers who did that, when they were clearly given a green light by higher ups, it's like, that's some bullshit right there. All right, so I'm going to check out this wax, and I actually have to get oh, my fucking God. This finger is actually really sensitive to pressure. And I just bumped it. And it's quite a sharp pain. Also, because I'm a real wuss and don't like pain, I've got to find a corkscrew. I've got a corkscrew here somewhere. Somewhere over the rainbow. Where is my corkscrew? I definitely had one. An old sharp knife. Don't grab a hold of the sharp knife, you silly man. The fuck is my corkscrew? I had a corkscrew. It was definitely a corkscrew. Man, I'm getting pissed off now. Can't find my corkscrew. I definitely had one. God damn it. Yeah, did someone put it in the wrong drawer? Oh. Ooh, mugler. I forgot I had a proper mugler. Wait, found it. Someone did put it in the wrong drawer. There's two of them in the wrong drawer. My God. That's so annoying. Okay. Alright, you can all stop panicking. Okay, why did you all panic? Why did you all panic? I knew I'd find it. Micro celebrating freedom by firing a semi-auto with a drum mag. Loud freedom. Again, I am an absolute hypocrite because I'm a big fan of Australia's gun laws. If I get the opportunity in the US to fire some big fuck off guns, I will do it. I will, because guns are fun, but they're also dangerous, and you should have controls over who has them. Like, I probably shouldn't have them. I don't think I'm very safe. All right, doing a corkscrew. Okay. Yep, a little corkscrew man's flexing his arms. And now please don't break cork. No, it's not going to break. It's coming out. It's good. It's good. All right. Go in a bit more then. So I never open wine bottles. I'm not very well versed in pulling out corks. Oh, that was a satisfying noise. That was so satisfying. And Marco, you're right that you don't blame a nation. You don't blame all the people. I think you can blame being particular regimes. I don't like the Chinese regime either. Nothing against the Chinese people. A lot against the Chinese Communist Party. All right. So that won't go back in. So, Jesus, now I've got to find a stopper from my stopper collection. That smells like wine. Oh no, Kirsten, can't buy more vintage glassware. I find it pretty easy to resist buying more glassware because I've got no fucking room. I just know I've got no room for it, so I don't buy anymore. I've got nowhere to put it if I buy anymore. You're now going to tell me you don't have any room for it either, but you still buy it. I'm often tempted. You always see stuff and go, oh, that would be cool. All right. So first, I'm going to taste this. And because I'm a classy motherfucker, I'm going to put it in a martini glass. So I'm going to have a taste, and then I'll probably make a martini with it. Nobody in Europe. There's a shooting range whose targets are on the other side of the highway. That seems like poor planning. That doesn't seem like a good idea. Oh, so you see, Kirsten, Abigail's offering to help with your too much glassware problem, which is code for what happened on New Zealand. Oh wow, look at the color on this one. It's like Vegemite. That's a man, that's a color. That is a color. I reckon I might find a cocktail recipe that says to use Punta Mez, which is a pretty robust vermouth, and use this one. Oh man, it's got a really nice aroma. Wow, that goes through a few things. It's got a bit of finish. It's got a really bit of finish, actually. Marco, was the glass broken from vigorous physical activity? It was broken from drunken carelessness. The two high points were Abigail breaking a glass and Nettie just falling off a chair, really. Wow, this has got a real lingering bitter thing. Not a bad way. That can work really well with other flavors. Right, I'm going to do some heck exploration. I might just make a martini, quite honestly. But I'm thinking if I find something that says beer, aperitif, aromatized wine, Dubonnet, Madeira, Port, Prosecco. Wait, they don't have Punta Mez listed? Wait, okay, vermouth, dry, okay, full-bodied. Sweet age, Throsso, wine, rosé, Pinot Noir, Zinfandel, white wines. Okay, I'm going to try Punta Mez. It's a full-bodied vermouth. Let's see what they suggest. What's here? Bitter in Brazil. That sounds right. Cachaça and Fernet Branca. I've made that, I'm sure. A chocolate Negroni. I'm just looking at these things. A Red Hook. Ooh, actually, I think I know that one. So, Kirsten, you mostly broke the glasses unobserved by anyone but husband. Oh dear. So nobody's saying at that shooting range there's been no accidents. There's a barrier. So if you have the power to fire past it, you can't hit the traffic. Okay. Yeah, no, micro is drunken carelessness. So Abigail, in order to play Elite on your computer, because you've got a bunch of stuff connected, everything is connected, had to write a pre-flight checklist. Nice. This stuff is really interesting because the initial taste is sweet, but then it comes through with some bitterness. What's in a Red Hook? Rye, Punta Mez, and Maraschino. I'm going to fucking do that. I reckon. And what's in a bitter in Brazil? Cachaça, orange curacao, Punta Mez, sugar syrup, Fernet. That one is also tempting. But I might make life simple and do Red Hook. Cousin to the Manhattan. Marco, call you got yesterday from a dealership to get a new vehicle. They have a Chevy Cruze. There you go. No, my Cruze is white. It's a white hatchback. Kirsten, you're manifesting yourself a vintage ceramic big cat statue. Want to walk into an op shop, find one for $30. Okay. Universe, we're sending it out there. What's going to happen? Kirsten is going to walk into an op shop and see a vintage ceramic big cat statue that's exactly what she wants, and it will be $30 or less. Okay? It's out there now, universe. The rest is up to you. Do we trust the universe? That's a question. Oh, okay, Michael, yours is a blue sedan. Okay. Hatch is red, can't afford payments. I finally paid mine off, actually. God, how long have I had it? I think, well, it must be 5 years because I think I had a 5-year payment thing on it. So I think I've had it for like 6 years now. It was new when I got it. Yes, Abigail used the methods described in The Secret. Oh, God, you know what I was tempted to get? Because my little cruise is actually turbocharged, which means it's fucking from a standing start, it really takes off, which I like. And Hyundai have a hot hatch. Just it's like a little hatchback. It's a Hyundai hatchback, but it goes like a motherfucker, apparently. So cheers. Ah. A bit of water to rinse my palate. So a red hook. All right, they say to do a coupe. I'm going to do it in this martini glass. I can't be fucked. I think I actually washed my stirring glass. I can't be fucked stirring it. I think I'm going to be just an animal and stir it in this. I know what I'm gonna do. Give me a second, 'cause I saw something. When I was looking for my corkscrew, another strainer. Will that fit in there? That will fit in there. I'm literally just going to use that little glass to chill. I'm going to stir it with my finger, 'cause I'm a fucking animal. Oh, nobody. The Secret is some weird sort of hippie shit. Kirsten, you're telling us so when you quiet, husband immediately files for divorce, you're not surprised. Husband has to understand if the universe manifests something, it's just it is. So if you think I should buy another car, just cause. Honestly, dude, the thought has crossed my mind, but then I cast it aside because my current car still goes really well. Oh God, yeah, no, that's all my nightmare, Marco. Dropping the price of a down payment on a new car to fix one part of your current car. Yeah, no, that's like my fucking nightmare. Yes. You're right, Abigail. The Secret's nothing to do with Scientology, but it makes as much sense as Scientology. Oh yeah, Mrs. Angry drives. Speaking of Hyundai, she's got a little Hyundai. We used to both have Hyundais. I traded in my last Hyundai for this cruise like about 6 or 7 years ago. I kept my fucking Hyundai for 10 years. I just keep cars for ages because why not? If it's still running, I only get rid of it when it's like, okay, this car's now going to cost more to keep running than it would cost me to start making payments on a replacement. So yeah, no, Marco, we're all with Kirsten for the statue. We are manifesting it. So husband has to understand. If you find it, Kirsten, it's not your fault. He can't be angry. The universe manifested it. All right. I'm going to make an Aussie red hook. When I come up with some Aussie riffs on those, what do you call it? Manhattan riffs. I want to do that. All right. So, got my stirring glass ready. Rye. It's supposed to be made with rye. And I just got some gospel rye in a pretty green bottle. Because I finished my other gospel. Well, where's my... I need a fucking jigger. Getting jiggy with it. Right. So I think it's 2 ounces of rye. Ba-da, 15. Okay, that's easy. All right, so rye whiskey. Them good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye. Whiskey and rye. Isn't that weird? Does anyone else do that? Instead of saying whiskey and rye, I just said whiskey and wine. All right. 15 mils of Maiden Eye Nocturne. Shazam, you all. And 15 mils of Maraschino, which is over here. Maraschino. Where is the maraschino? That's the maraschino, sitting right there. Oh, not that much of it left, because I don't use much maraschino. Probably had this bottle for 2 years. Way over a year anyway, because I don't use much maraschino. That's why I have so much bottles, because I only use small amounts of them. I like the variety. Every now and then, I look at them and go, my God, I haven't made anything with that in months, maybe a year. I need to make something with that. All right, so that's that. That's my drink. Kirsten, that's the straight rye. That was, I think, your recommendation to get the straight rye, because I happened to be in Dan Murphy's with Nettie, and it was on special. So I got it. I wasn't actually intending to get it, but I was almost out of the Blackheart and Sparrow rye, the barrel strength one. And I thought, okay, straight rye, 45% on special. I'm getting not a huge special. It was like $5 or $10, but I'm like, I just got it. Micro, the price of oil, and by extension petrol, is complex and also bullshit. We are being screwed over by a bunch of vested interests. All right. So this is an Aussie Red Hook, which is apparently a butter of New York. I want to sit down with some clever people and work out what all the Australian versions of Manhattan variants would be. Whoa, that's got so much going on. For just small amounts of maraschino and the Nocturne, which is bitter, it's like I'm the first up getting the sweetness from the maraschino, and then it finishes with the bitterness of the Nocturne. But it's a really light bitterness. It's all these different flavors happening in my mouth. Micro, I think a few African nations do have a sizable amount of oil, actually. And they are busily enjoying freedom from a few Western oil mining conglomerates. Yeah, we're pretty good like that. Why isn't that part of the world more developed? We spent 500 years stealing all their resources. Yeah, but apart from that, apart from us stealing all their resources for 500 years, why aren't they more developed? So what's happening, Queen, with what did Invisible Chicken say? It may manifest. Ooh, okay, Invisible Chicken. If it does manifest in your op shop, you never. Oh, that ding was from Aidsy. Does he want to join us? House is currently a shit sandwich. All right. No, AIDS is having a bad night. In short, AIDS is having a bad night, not joining us. C'est la vie. Abigail with the space facts. Titan, a moon of Saturn, has literal oceans of hydrocarbons. Things like methane, ethane, propane, etc. Sounds like they could use some freedom. Yeah, Micro's on board. Titan needs some freedom. That is good. Wow, that is good. I reckon I'm doing that for my cocktail channel. A Red Hook, but an Aussie version. talking about we're going to free the fuck out of Titan. It always and I think they did this deliberately in Rogue One, which the best of the Star Wars movies, where they liberate Jyn Erso from the prison transport she's on, and the robot goes, "You are being rescued. Please do not resist." yes, Micro Titan's why you have Space Force now. Space freedom. And yeah, see, Safa, we've already got the fucking tagline for the invasion of Titan. It's Attack on Titan. Tommy, was AZ is perpetually in quite severe amounts of pain. So you are correct in assessing he looked like he was in pain because he has chronic pain out the yin yang. Okay, I really fucking like this one. I need to look. You excuse me for a second. I've got like 30 stoppers over there. I'm gonna grab a selection and bring them back here and see if I can, because I need a stopper for this or it's going to oxidize because I'm not going to use it in a hurry. Yes, Micro, we're laughing now until Elon Musk says something like, we're going to go to Titan tomorrow. Elon Musk is a fucking idiot, quite honestly. Spoiled, privileged little shithead. All right, so it's a pretty small neck. So just get some of the smaller stoppers I've got here and hope one of them fits. Okay, I've got some stoppers. I'm hoping one of them fits this bottle because I have a bunch of different sizes. So, Kirsten, you took a special painkiller last night. Good call. Great night's sleep, and you're 100% better. Okay, that one's actually too small. God, we're playing Goldilocks and the Three Bears now. That's too small as well. That's too small as well. All right. Too small is still okay if it's still... That one's too big. Okay, so I've got a couple that are too small. Too big is useless, but too small would still seal it and probably help with it not oxidizing. Michael, you're right, we can shut the fuck up. Leave you alone with your kangaroos and visual. The weird fringe right wing who have currently got obsessed with Australia, they're very weird. Tell me it's like 80s with Ronald Reagan when he did Star Wars. Oh, Ronald Reagan fucked up so many things in the 80s. I lived through it. All right, so I'm just going to do one more quick scan of my stoppers over here. There's a couple down here. Maybe one of them fits. All right, that one's too big. Oh, wait. Oh, no, that's... Okay, I'm almost sure this one's too big. All right. Last selection to see if I can find one that fits this bottle snugly. No, too big. Perfect. I got one. Thank you, Kirsten, for the offer, by the way, of helping. But yeah, the neck is this Maiden Eye Nocturne. This one, which I don't even remember what it was, is perfect. That's why I fucking keep them all. That is why I keep them all. That's way too big. But this one's perfect. That is snug. The ones that were too small, I would have used them if I had to, because in a pinch, they at least would offer some shielding. Oh, that one works too. Cork's a bit sexier. I got a plastic one and a cork one that suits. I'm happy. I got that. Micro USB, too big, never heard that before. Well, this is not a flexible opening. This is a rigid, fixed opening. Also, look, I'm going to share something with you and share a thought that I had about it. That bottle that I'm just putting back in the fridge came in this box, okay? And this box is absolutely beautiful, and I have no use for it. So I'm going to put it in recycling. But look, so it's a cardboard box, beautiful printing on it. Made in I. So what's the quote say? Leaves, flowers, fruits, herbs, seeds, spices, and roots from the gardens of both the old world and new. Product of Australia. Made in I, made in I, made in I. It opens up, that closes with a magnet, okay? And opens up. The bottle was in here. Now there's this weird thing where you can open it and it actually flattens out. I just feel really bad that I'm throwing this out, because the thought occurred to me, if you had a time machine, if you could take this back, I think probably even 200 years ago, if you could take this 200 years back, the printing is so fine. And just this closing thing with the magnet and the fact that you can put something in here to display it and sell it to some aristocrat. I feel like this thing, which I am literally going to throw out, would be virtually priceless. Like some aristocrat would pay me a small fortune for this, because even just 200 or 300 years ago, this would be priceless. It isn't foiled, Kirsten. There's no foil on it. I'll probably take this as a sticker here, and it does have some shiny stuff on it. I will take this sticker off. The rest of this is unbleached cardboard. I mean, there is a magnet in it, but I'm going to put this in recycle. And I think if you had a time machine Abigail, do you want me to hold on to it just in case it can hold magic cards? Because I will. If you think it's potentially useful, I will hold on to it. Yes, micro USB. If you had a really special vibrator, a dildo that you wanted to show off to people in a really fucking classy way. So again, if anyone watching has a fairly spectacular dildo that you want to display in a nice way, I'll save it for you. Good thinking, micro USB. This would be an excellent display case for your favorite dildo. But okay, Abigail I'm saving this for you, Abigail, to see if it works for magic cards, because it's a fucking beautiful box. It's fucking beautiful. I actually feel so good that that's useful to you. Yes, micro, you can put your legal recreational marijuana in it. Yeah, I just don't have anything good to put in it. Thank you. I'm so glad that has potential value to you, Abigail, because the idea of just throwing it out was hurting my soul, because it's beautiful. It is a beautiful piece of design. Also, man, this Aussie Red Hook is fucking awesome. It is really good. Like, in my out of 10 scores, this is an 8. I'd definitely make this again. Yeah, no, this is an 8 out of 10. I definitely make it again. And for anyone unfamiliar with my rating system, out of 10. So 6 out of 10 is okay, but nothing to write home about. 7 out of 10 is good, but because there are so many better drinks out there, I probably wouldn't either make it or buy it again. 8 out of 10 is hell yes. I would definitely, this one again, definitely. 9 plus out of 10 is I want another one now. 8 out of 10 is I'll definitely have that one again. 9 out of 10 is I want another one now. So, yeah. Oh, no. Kirsten went, loves a good box, and Abigail, straight to the innuendo, which I love. Love a good box too. Yeah, no, Robot Man Greg, you could absolutely redecorate that box. It would lend itself to that. But I'm just so glad that this is potentially useful to you, Abigail. So I'll hang on to it. Nobody got off the phone to the cops. Spotted 2 kids trying to jump a fence. Ran away when they saw you watching them. Damn. Kids. Youth. Oh, yeah, dude, cutting through people's yards is a great way to piss someone off, cutting through their yard. Yes, Abigail, I absolutely hate throwing her stuff. Like, I have so many bottles that I've kept because I think I'll be able to use that. Whenever I finish a nice bottle and I'm like, oh God, this is just going in recycling, and I feel kind of guilty, but I've got a bunch of bottles. Whereas, this one, I'm keeping this one. This is the gospel one that I just emptied. And the reason I'm keeping it is because it's got this nice embossing. I said this the other night, distilled and bottled in Melbourne, Australia, because I'm a proud Melburnian. So I'm going to keep this really nice embossed bottle. I've got to soak the labels off it. I've saved up. There's now actually a couple of bottles, big and small, that I'm intending to keep. I got to fill up the sink with warm water and soap, and soak these labels off. Yes, Abigail, you have nice empty bottles in your apartment. I have a bunch of really nice empty bottles. So it's actually a pretty high bar now for me to want to keep a bottle, because I've got some really good and useful and beautiful bottles. So it's quite a high bar for me to keep a bottle now. Invisible Chicken heading off to get ready for bed. Thank you. Going to bed after 10 for a few days. No, if you're ready for bed, go to bed by all means. Safa, do I hate New South Wales? Okay, no, I do not hate the state of New South Wales. I certainly am in no rush to live in Sydney again. I lived in Sydney for 10 years. I just enjoy living in Melbourne more. I fucking hate the current New South Wales government, I'll say that. But I don't hate the state of New South Wales or the people of New South Wales. But I certainly, not in a rush to live in Sydney again. Living in Sydney, I found much more stressful than living in Melbourne. Nettie, you just watched the first episode, series 3 of Sex Education. So funny. I'm halfway through season 2 at the moment. Probably finish season 2 this coming week, and then get on to season 3. Marco. Oh, yes. NSW's Nintendo Switch. Yeah. Well, my joke is because there's that acronym of not safe for work, NSFW. I can't help when someone puts NSFW down there. I see it as New South fucking Wales. it's just how I see it. I can't help it. Yeah. So, Kirsten, yes, you've been in Sydney for a whole year. That's blowing your mind. Lemonheads, are there any Chris Lilly fans? Okay. Yeah, Chris Lilly I find to be a mixed bag. Particularly like when he does ethnic characters and people from that ethnic group respond with fuck that guy, he's just promoting stereotypes that I've had to fight my whole life. So yeah, no, Chris Lilly is what we could politely call problematic. I'm going to be polite. Mark, you think we should have a petition to change New South Wales to New South fucking Wales? Yeah, we should. We absolutely should. But yeah, I can't help it when I see NSFW. I know it's not safe for work, but I see it as New South fucking Wales. It is what it is. Oh, okay. Man, I am really fucking glad I made that. That is really good. Yeah, Lemonheads, you get it. Some of he's awkward. I think a lot of the times with Chris Lilly, and okay, I'm giving him massive benefit of the doubt here. I think a lot of the time with Chris Lilly, his heart's in the right place, but he doesn't understand that he's kind of speaking for someone else's experience, and that's a really fucked thing to do. Like when he does, when he does ethnic cosplay, essentially, it's just like, oh dear. Micro, when you went to fix your car, bunch of vacuum lines are dried out, snapped over 33 years. Wow. Okay, if you've got a 33-year-old car, man, yeah, no, I'm not surprised. That's like you got to get into like wholesale replacement of stuff. And you have to fucking love the car to do that at that point. It's kind of like every now and then when I see someone with a classic car and I'm like 70s or earlier, 76, okay, you must love that car because I bet it's a motherfucker to keep on the road. So for you to be driving that, you must friggin' love it because it must. Oh my god, it must be so fucked to keep that on the road. And also just to drive those big friggin' cars with no power steering, where to just like change lanes, you have to go let alone like park and reverse and shit. My first couple of cars didn't have power steering, but the idea of one of those really big fucking cars with no power steering, and so I mean like a car from the 70s or earlier, big fucking car with no power steering and no modern sort of safety or comfort things. Oof, you have to love your car to keep that thing going. Micro, your car's a VW Gold copy called the Dodge Omni. Okay. Okay, so yeah, you're saying you've put $3,000 in parts and shit. Yeah, no, I've had that in the past where you suddenly realize this car, I like it, it's cool and whatnot, but I now realize I'm spending more money on keeping it going than I would have to spend to just get a new car. So he's like, I'm sorry, you're a special car, I love you, but we're putting you out to pasture now. We're sending you to live on a farm upstate where you can frolic freely because it's just too expensive to keep you running. My first car was a Volkswagen Beetle, an early 60s Volkswagen Beetle. How I did not die in that car, I will never know because there was so much wrong with it. Not least that it didn't fucking have brakes. It didn't have brakes. I was driving a car that you would have to pump the brakes for half a block to come to a stop. What I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. It was just mad. So, Michael, with your car, matter of finding lines online, buying them, of the wraps, the engine block, and doesn't have airbags, traction controller, ABS. Yeah, no, all that shit. The idea of particularly the big cars from the 70s and earlier that don't have power steering, and you fucking wrestle with those cars. Oh, yes, Arthur, how did I drive without brakes? It helped that I was in a country town. But seriously, when I was approaching an intersection, like if there was a stop sign or a traffic light, I would have to start pumping the brakes half a block before the intersection to actually stop at the intersection. It was fucking nightmarish. So, Abigail, your dad had a V6EB Falcon with an engine in the back. Oh my God. The center of gravity was on the back wheels. Jesus. After almost dying after spinning out, he finally got a family car. Jesus. So, Micro, you don't like traction control, but yeah, ABS, proper brakes, proper freaking brakes. Jesus, no. I have no idea why I drove this fucking Volkswagen for so long when it was a fucking death trap. Also, there was a leak in the exhaust system, and you would get this blue exhaust smoke sort of rising up from the floor of the car, would kind of reach your knees, and it was a death trap. How I didn't die, I don't know. Safa, did I get licensed with the cops of transport? I got my license just after you had to go to the motor registry. If I'd have got my license 6 months earlier, I would have had it with a cop, and the driving tests with cops were hilariously easy. But yeah, that's the thing. So was Tommy, did I see the trailer for the new Resident Evil movie? No. And I'm not particularly into them. So I'm certainly not going to be in a rush to watch it. Oh, okay. Micro USB. When I were a lad in the deep dark past, so in Australia, about how long ago? 40 years ago? Roughly 40 years ago, it changed. 35, 40 years ago, it changed. But the driving test literally used to be you would go to the police station and say, I'm here to do my driving test. And some copper would get in the car with you. And I don't know what it was like in the cities, but I was in a country town. And everyone I know, all my compadres who did their driving test with a cop, the cops did not give a shit. Like you would literally have to have an accident during your driving test to fail it. You'd have to run over a pedestrian. You'd have to crash into something. That was like the only way to fail your driving test back in the day with the coppers, was to do something terrible. But then when would it have been? Mid 80s? Mid 80s, they changed it. So there was a government regulatory authority that did the driving tests, and they were a bit stricter. And then they changed the rules again in the 90s, and it got more strict. So basically, progressively, the rules for getting a license in Australia have become more and more strict. But back in the day, and I mean like 35, 40 years ago, you just went for a drive with a copper to get your license, and man, just anything went. And again, I don't know what it was like in the cities, but in country town where I grew up, cops did not give a shit, man. The cops, like, you'd have to kill someone. Okay, good question, Micro. In my day, you had to be 16 and 9 months to get a learner's permit. You had to hold the learner's permit for at least 3 months and theoretically take some lessons. And then you could take a test to get your provisional license when you were 17. And if you passed the test for your provisional license, you could then drive on your own. Now, I didn't take my test for a provisional license until I was over 18. If I'd have done it straight away, the cops would have still been the thing. But I wasn't in a rush, and it was this government registry office, and they were a bit tougher. And Suffolk says it's 17 for Red Peas in New South Wales. So the P plate is your provisional license. Chris, you did a test in Indiana. No one cared. It's that easy. Put a bunch of stupid regulations on people under 18, but not over 18. So you didn't try till 18. There you go. Licenses have gotten much more complicated since I were a lad. We used to have L plates, learner's permits, where you had to have someone instructing you. You couldn't drive on your own. Then there was a P plate, provisional license, which you had to have for at least a year, and then you could get a full license. Now I know there are two different sorts of P plates in most states in Australia. It's basically more complicated and more difficult to get a license in Australia now than when I were a lad. So, yeah, and I don't even know rules. So, Mike, you think it's 16 or 17 with most places if you have experience? Yeah. Micro, it's not a retesting people every 5, 7, 10 years is not a terrible idea. That's water, by the way. Actually, it's a little bit of diluted alcohol. Fucking stove started buzzing. You probably can't hear it, but I can. It annoys me. I tinged off my martini glass. That's a nice noise. I need a little bit of glass ASMR. That is a high quality glass that makes a noise that beautiful. I like it. All right, sorry, I'm just going to go off here for a second because the fucking stove clock is buzzing and it's annoying the shit out of me, even though you probably can't hear it. I can hear it, and it's annoying the shit out of me. So it'll just take me a little bit. I've got to change the time of the clock. Actually, fuck it. I'm just going to do that because that'll shut it off for a few minutes. I'm only going to be awake for another half hour before I go to bed. Oi! Chris, you asked your instructor if you needed a parallel park, and he said, "What's that? Just pull into the spot and get you this license already." I mean, I remember guys who I went to school with telling me stories of the cop who was taking the test, telling them to double park illegally while they ducked into this place and got a sandwich. It was back in the day. It was just fucking ridiculous. I mean, there are some standards now, but yeah. God damn. Okay, that drink is good. I need to remember that. An Aussie version of a Red Hook. Just drinking some water. I think if I hydrate a bit before going to bed, that would be good for my head. Probably means I'll have to get up in the middle of the night and take a piss, drinking this water just before going to bed. Wait, 20 minutes off bedtime. So, Marco, for your test, you just needed to park next to a curb, back up along it. This is a small place to know. Yeah, country towns, man, they don't give a shit. People don't give a shit in country towns. Big cities, it can be a bit more for. Apparently, getting a proper driver's license in England is a whole fucking thing. It's apparently one of the most difficult places in the world to get a full driver's license. See, Kirsten, I want to consult you. At some point, we need to have a brains trust thing because, okay, the Red Hook is a variant on the Manhattan. The Manhattan is obviously named after Manhattan, New York. And there are all these variants of the Manhattan that are named after the different boroughs in New York. And Red Hook is one of them. So I want to have a brains trust one time, Kirsten. I think you would be part of it to actually talk about Aussie versions of famous drinks and what we'd call them. So there are all these variants of the Manhattan, like the Brooklyn and Red Hook and a few others, which are named after districts and or boroughs in New York. And I think we need to have a brains trust session to work out names for Aussie versions of these, because that's the thing I want to do. Chris, you're saying a vision test was funny. That a machine, a guy walked up and said, "Can you see? You can see, obviously, no need for that. Sign here, here you go." Joy driving, kid. So, Tommy, you don't drive. That's okay, man. You get behind the wheel, freak out. You're not going to put other people's lives in danger. Dude, that is fucking responsible. Oh my God, Kirsten, yes. An Aussie version is a Skyhook, which is not a district. It is an absolutely legendary Australian rock band from the 70s and 80s. They were biggest in the 70s. The Skyhook, yes. No. An Aussie Red Hook is definitely a Skyhook. Kirsten, you're on the fucking money there. See, that's why I said you'd be part of the Brains Trust. The Red Hook, the Aussie Red Hook is definitely a Skyhook. Nobody, you're off. Catch you later, man. That's an excellent sentence, Micro USB. Southern states can be so fun because they're not little bitches about everything. Nice. And Chris, your buddy lives up the road, has an electric bike. Award-winning transit makes driving not needed for him. Oh, damn. Okay. So, Micro, there in the southern states, less likely to call the cops just because you had a fight in a bar parking lot unless it gets really out of hand. Yeah, I can see that. But by the same token, I also feel like in some of those southern bars, you might be getting jumped by some fucking psychopath and no one will call the cops. Less good. Less good is all I'm saying. Saf is asking Chris if they're state or national license. I'm pretty sure driver's licenses are state-based in the US. Safi saying electric bikes are illegal in Australia. Depends what they are. I like that, Lemonade. Mitch Hedberg quote, and Mitch Hedberg had some funny one-liners. It's just a hop, skip, and a jump. Do you have directions for those who are walking? Yes. Mitch Hedberg had some very funny one-liners. And you watch Mitch Hedberg things. He looks like he's like out of it. He was on a lot of drugs, and I think he died from a heroin overdose. Very young, sad. Yeah, no, I thought you were right, Abigail. Electric bikes aren't illegal, but electric scooters, the existence of electric scooters isn't illegal, but it's illegal to ride an electric scooter on the road, and it's illegal to ride an electric scooter on a footpath. Electric bikes, as in something that looks like a bicycle but has an electric motor, that's not illegal. And again, there's a whole sliding scale of, does it qualify as a bicycle or a motorcycle? And there's a whole sliding scale of that. Electric scooters are essential. It's as I said, defining it's a bit funny because the existence of electric scooters is not illegal, but it's illegal to ride an electric scooter on the road, and it's illegal to ride an electric scooter on a footpath for two different reasons. That's the thing. So, Mike, are you an electric moped and have a solar charging station? Neat. So, Chris, you have e-bikes, bikes that are electric scooters and mopeds. Again, if your electric scooter was a full-on, mopeds are road vehicles in Australia. So if you have one that's a legal road vehicle, you can register it as a road vehicle. But when I say electric scooter, I literally mean the things that look like a kid's scooter but have an electric motor. Now, these have been declared as not roadworthy in Australia. So you cannot register them, and it is illegal to ride them on the roads, although a lot of people do. So it's illegal to ride them on the roads because they've been declared not roadworthy, and it's illegal to ride them on footpaths because they're dangerous on footpaths. So basically, it's except on private property, it is illegal to ride an electric scooter. So yeah, but if it's something that qualifies as a moped, if your electric vehicle can be declared to be road safe, you register it and it's a road vehicle. These scooters cannot be registered as a road vehicle, so you can't ride them on the road, and they go too fast and they're dangerous, and so you can't ride them on footpaths. Every now and then the cops get really into enforcement of that and fucking book people who are riding the electric scooters and confiscate their scooters and whatnot. And you get these people saying, "Oh, it should be legal." They're not going to be legal in Australia. So yes. So Micro, if it goes faster than 30 miles per hour, the engine's larger than 50 cc's, it's considered a motorcycle, needs a motorcycle license. And again, that's the thing. Yeah, Micro, something that met that criteria in Australia, you could register it as a road vehicle and it would be legal. There we go. So you can't even ride a normal push bike inside Carlton Gardens because what the fuck? Yeah, I mean, bikes and pedestrians don't mesh that well. South of European motorbikes are too dangerous. Yeah, I've never got a motor. There was a period when I was a lad where I thought, yeah, I want a motorbike. I'm going to motorbike because I'm going to be cool. And I never did it. Me being me, I'd probably be dead if I had ever got a motorbike because honestly, I'm a bit of an idiot. And motorbikes are cool. Motorbikes are fucking cool. And I probably would have ridden it really dangerously. I'd probably be dead. Yeah, Greg, the electric scooters are everywhere in the Melbourne CBD. They are illegal though, and every now and then the cops get serious about actually arresting people who are on them. But yeah, Lemonade, you had a buddy with an e-bike. You'd hop on the back, blast up pathways, playing thieving magpies. Oh my god. Chris, you need $200 to fix your bike. Ooh, damn. Yeah, Safi, you're not meant to ride push bikes on footpaths, but it's quite unsafe to ride them on roads too. I've had a couple of near misses. I still remember one, man, I was in Footscray, and I was riding a push bike, and there's a push bike lane, so I was on the road, and I was going sort of down a hill, and I heard this truck's air horn behind me, and I went, "That cannot be good." And so, without looking, I just jumped the footpath, and I just said, "That can't be good." And I jumped the footpath. I got out, and this truck roared past. And what had happened? There was actually two lanes. There was two lanes. Often there was a parked car there, but there's two lanes and a bike lane. And I'm here in a bike lane, and there was a right turning thing, and this motherfucker on a truck that was probably amped off his head on speed. He's coming down this lane here, and someone was turning right, and he didn't want to stop, and he just swerved into this left lane where I was, and he was going to fucking kill me because he just didn't want to brake, and he did the air horn. And in retrospect, if I had taken the time to look over my shoulder and go, "Why is that truck doing the air horn?" it would have killed me. But I was just going around, and I just heard this truck air horn, and my brain, my little lizard brain, just went, "That can't be good," and just got off the road, jumped the footpath without thinking, and that saved my life. So yeah, and yes, Safra, I did make a vid about that at the time. Abigail, in your dickhead 20s, used to play a game where you rode your bike as fast as you could in peak hour on the footpaths in the CBD, dodged pedestrian as narrow as possible, never hit anyone. Fuck. You're a dick. I remember when those Razor scooters were first popular, which was literally about 20 years ago, where my two offspring were very little toddlers. And if I was walking around with them, like I'd be holding their hands walking. And one time, and it was this real thing where it would be like guys in suits riding these Razor scooters in really fucking stupid ways. Um, and I was walking in the CBD of Melbourne, and I rounded a corner, and this fuckwit on a Razor, because it was downhill from his perspective, he's going downhill really fast. And I was a pedestrian, walked around a corner. He missed me by like that much. It was pure luck. He missed me by like he almost grazed my knuckles as he went by. Missed me by that much. And all I could think was, if I had been walking with my kids, he would potentially have killed one of my kids. He would have hit them with such force, there was a horrifically high chance he would have killed them. And I was just thinking, even if he just injured them, I'm not even joking. This is not exaggeration. I would have beaten him to death with his own scooter. That is absolutely what would happen. So from that point on, I hated people who rode scooters on the footpath with a fucking passion, because that was so close to being disastrous. And this guy was an absolute cunt. And the fact that something terrible didn't happen, was just pure luck. And from that point on, I hated people who rode scooters on the footpath, hated them with a fucking passion. Yeah. Yeah, no, and no. I get what you're saying, Marco USB. You are factually wrong. Push bikes should be on the road. You are literally factually wrong. Okay, now you're clarifying. You mean when there's a bike lane in the middle of the road. Okay, and yes, there are definitely obnoxious bike riders. Just get Aidsy started, because he's been taken out multiple times by dickheads on bikes, because he's encountered people who have no respect at all for disabled people. Bikes should be on the road. Bikes should also be obeying the rules on the road, and people driving cars need to be a bit more respectful. Yes, there we go. You're an avid bike rider, but fuck the Lycra Brigade. Yeah, no, they are very obnoxious. And in Melbourne, I don't know if it still happens. We had this thing on the road that follows the bay out to Brighton, where hundreds of these fuckwits would ride in a pack and disobey red lights, and they actually killed a pedestrian once. They called it the Hell Run or something. They're arseholes. There is a certain subset of bike riders who are assholes. There's a certain subset of pedestrians who are assholes. There's a certain subset of car drivers who are assholes. There are a certain subset of truck drivers who are assholes. Essentially, with humans, whatever the group is, there is a subset of that group who are assholes. And that is Angry's insight into the world. A certain subset of humans are assholes. Yeah, no, you're right, Greg. With more people in CBD, the bikes and scooters need to get off the footpath. I fucking hate it when bike riders go on crowded footpaths. Deep dark past when I was living in Sydney, I remember an incident. This is in the early 90s. Bike couriers were a very big thing. I don't know if they still are, but in the early 90s, bike couriers were a very big thing. The Lycra boys, and they're pumping away on the bikes. And I was walking, and this was like one of the main streets of Sydney. I was on the footpath, like George Street, and come up the corner, and this fuckwit on a bike came around the corner, and you couldn't see them because there's a building right to the corner. So they came out at speed and just barely missed me and multiple other pedestrians. And he just like not a care in the world. And like he missed me by this fucking much. And I drove back and went, "Oh, you can't." And he stopped because then it was like traffic and he can't go out in the cars because they'll hit him. And he stopped. And he was taller than me. He was bigger than me. And so he did this macho thing, leaning off his bike, goes, "What did you say?" And I lost it because I was angry. And so I just leaned into his face and fucking screamed at him. I said, "You fucking cunt. What the fuck are you doing?" And I'm like, "I hope a fucking truck takes you out at the next intersection. You fucking cunt." Yeah. And he was freaked out because he was bigger than me and he kind of thought he could intimidate me, but I'm an angry person. And I just lost my shit at him and I was just screaming in his face and just like because he had complete disregard for the pedestrians. And I'm just going, "I hope karma gets you, you motherfucker. I hope a truck takes you out at the next intersection. You fucking can't." And this guy was like, "What the fuck?" I like freaked him right out because he just thought he'd pull this big macho thing and I'd back down because I was wearing my office clothes. I was like office nerd and I was smaller than him. And he was big butch guy in his lycra. And he thought he was going to intimidate me. But people tend to not intimidate me when I'm very angry. And he made me very angry. And so I got right up in his face, like right up in his face. And he did not know what to do. I had a similar one with a car once in a suburb where I was working. There was this really quite small road. It was virtually a lane. It was this back way towards the train station, and there was a pedestrian crossing, and it was quite a narrow road. And sometimes cars would act like they weren't going to give way to you on the pedestrian crossing, and I would just stare them down. And let them know I see them and I'm walking and they need to stop. And one time I did it, there was like a 40-kilometer-an-hour speed limit on it because it was virtually a laneway. And this car was screaming down at like so far past the speed limit. But I thought, no, he'll stop. I'm walking across the pedestrian crossing and I'm staring this guy down and he's not slowing down. And I suddenly realize he's going like way too fucking fast and he's not slowing down and he's going to take me out. And at the last second, I jumped back out of the way. And also, It's almost like at the same time something finally penetrated this motherfucker's thick skull that he needed to stop, and he slammed on the brakes. But I very rarely jump out of cars' ways, but I jumped out of this one's way, and he slammed on the brakes, and he stopped. And I'm like, oh fuck! And then I went to keep going, and but then this stupid cunt trying to defend himself, his window was down, and he just said something like, "You're supposed to stop for cars, mate." And I just lost it. And this guy's going, and I'm screaming at him from this far away, go, "Are you fucking kidding? It's like, there's a 40 fucking kilometer an hour speed limit here. This is a pedestrian crossing, you fucking prick. You stop for the pedestrians. That's how it fucking works. You fucking piece of shit." And it was one of these narrow laneways with sort of high-ish buildings. So me screaming at this guy, it was echoing and booming back and forth down this lane. So me screaming at this guy was just echoing down this laneway, and I'm just screaming. And this was a long time ago. I was only early 20s, and this guy was probably in his 50s, and I just fucking lost it. And I was just screaming at this guy like, "Fuck you! It's a 40k limit, and this is a pedestrian crossing. You fucking stop. That's the road rules. Fuck you. You fucking stop." And then he's just like stuck there going like, "Ugh." Again, someone does something bad on the road, I kind of lose it. But anyway, and that's that. We're going to finish on that note of Angry's pedestrian road rage, stories from the past. Yeah, it's 10 o'clock. Sunday night. I'm going to go to bed. Got work tomorrow. It's an exciting week. I don't know if you'll have Monday to Friday shit happening. But, fucking, have a good life is what I'm saying. So Monday night, I'll be watching Sex Education with Mrs. Angry. Probably be back on Tuesday for a stream if you want to hang out. And we'll see how that goes. But you all have a good time in the meantime. I'm gonna go to bed. See you all later.